Hello there and welcome to this tutorial. What I'm going to go through here is how to create a Gradle task that will grant permissions for an app on Marshmallow devices and later. This will save you the hassle of having to grant the permissions by hand after installing your app. So to start with, here we have a freshly created app, and we'll start by going over to the Gradle scripts and opening the module level build.gradle. There it is. Right, so we go to the bottom of the script. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through all of the application variants and create a task for each one that grants the permissions. First thing we need to do is get the application ID for this variant. It is possible for each variant to have a different ID. This would allow you to install multiple variants on a device at once. To grant the permissions, we need to run an ADB command. Fortunately, the Android object holds a reference to ADB in the ADB.exe field. Sorry, no, we won't do toString because that's the Java way. Let's be groovy and do it as string. So now let's get the variant name from the variant.name field. And what we'll do is we'll capitalize it. If you know your Android Gradle tasks, you'll know that they all have the capital letter in there, such as assemble release has a capital R for release, assemble debug has a capital D, and so on. Now we can create the task. We're going to call it grant permissions task. And we'll do a tasks.create. The parameter for tasks.create is the name of the task, and we'll use grant, followed by our capitalized variant name, followed by permissions. So now we get on to the guts of the task. So the first thing we need to do is get a list of all the devices that are attached to the computer. So you know the command for this is adb devices. We'll execute that, take the output of it, and we'll iterate over it a line at a time. We're only interested in the lines of the output that list attached devices, so we only want the lines that end in the word device. For each of those lines, we'll split the line. We take the first value of that split array, which gives us the device ID. And we'll output a little message to the user to show that we're just about to grant permissions on that device. Finally, we come to the bit that actually grants the permissions. So again, we run ADB. We use the -s parameter to specify the device ID. The command is shell pm grant, and then the application ID, and that's the one that we grabbed earlier for this variant. And then we list the permission name itself. So let's grant location permission. So it'll be android.permission.accessFineLocation. And then we execute that. If we want find location, we probably also want course location. So we'll just duplicate that line, change find to course. And just for fun, let's also ask for storage. So duplicate the line again, change the permission to read external storage. And once more, and we'll have write external storage. So a couple of final little things to tidy up. We'll give our task a description by setting the description field. That way somebody who lists the tasks in Gradle from the command line or hovers their mouse over in Android Studio can see what this task does. And so that it's easier to find, we'll put it in a group called extras by setting the group field. So now if we pop out the Gradle tasks window, we can see there is no extras, and that's because we haven't synced our project up yet. So let's do that. And hey presto, the extras group appears, and there is our grant debug permissions and our grant release permissions tasks. Let's try running one of them. We click on it and just hold the mouse a second, and there's the tooltip that shows us the description that we set. We double click on it, the Gradle console window pops up, and we can see the output showing that our task is granting permissions, and that device is just the one I happen to have attached to my machine here. And there you have it. You can now add a Gradle W grant debug permissions line in your test scripts, so that when your app gets installed afresh, the tests don't fail because the permissions dialog box that gets shown up. I hope you found that useful. Please leave me comments and let me know. And until next time, cheerio.